Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. So in this reading I will be channeling a message from your old teacher. What would your old teacher tell you if you met them today? What would your old teacher like you to know? And so I have 3 groups here for you. Group number 1, group number 2 and group number 3. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose whatever group speaks to you the most. And so let's proceed to the reading. Hello, group number 1, you chose this tiger's eye, and so I will start with a channeled message and then I will proceed to the cards. And so I think you were very sick when you were in school. You didn't attend school very often. You had a lot of sick days, and I think your teacher missed you a lot when you were not there. They were really worried about you and sad to see that like your seat was empty. I actually think it devastated them quite a bit. I think they really had high hopes for you, so I think they thought quite highly of you. They saw a lot of potential in you, and so I think your teacher felt like you were out of reach for them. They couldn't teach you and help you because you were absent a lot of the time. I think you were a really great student. You always made an effort to make the best written assignments, and I think you really showed your skill and talent in your written assignments, which your teacher was really impressed by. But your teacher just really wanted you to meet physically more, so that they could experience your skill and talent more in person. Maybe you were shy as well, and so maybe you never said anything in class either. Maybe you were the type who never raised your hand in class and never participated in class activities or even group assignments. I think you kept a lot to yourself, but your teacher knew that you were smart and that you were destined for greatness. They had seen it in your assignments. I also think they could tell by like your facial expressions in class. Like you might not have said anything in class, but I think you often shared looks with your teacher, like your teacher's eyes and your eyes would meet in class, and like if someone like a classmate of yours would say something stupid or wrong in class, I think your teacher looked over at you and they could tell that you knew the right answer. And maybe sometimes you had like this smug look on your face, like you were secretly making fun of them on the inside for not getting the answer right. Well, I know this sounds a bit arrogant, but I don't think it was like, and even if it was, I think you were really good at hiding it. I don't think anyone else suspected that you were arrogant, but I think your teacher could see right through you. They knew you had the right answer. They knew that they knew what you were thinking, because your teacher was thinking the same thing. And so sometimes we only recognize in others that which is within ourselves, and so I think your teachers saw the smugness. They saw the secret eye roll, because they kind of wanted to roll their eyes themselves. And so I think your teacher was quite happy to have you in in the class because they knew you were on the same wavelength as them. And I also think that was why they always felt so sad when they called out your name in class and no one answered. And because I think your teacher felt a bond with you, like, and so it was devastating when you were homesick. I think your teacher saw like a kindred spirit in you. Like I know a teacher is not supposed to have a favorite, but I actually think you were your teacher's favorite, even though you might not have felt that way because maybe you didn't feel like you were exactly an honorary student. You didn't attend class often. You didn't participate when you did attend class. But I think your teacher just knew that you were the one in your class that was destined for something great. Actually, maybe the only one in the class, not to be mean or anything, but maybe he saw a lot of potential in you that he didn't really see. Sorry, he or she, they saw a lot of potential in you that they didn't see in your other classmates. And I think they saw something new and exciting in you. Like there was something different about you. Like you never played it safe. You like in your written assignments, you never played it safe. You took chances. You didn't just write what you thought the teacher wanted you to write. You thought for yourself. You trusted your own intuition and your own judgment, and your assignments were always quite unique. You always wrote something that showed either a brand new take on something, a new perspective on something that even your teacher had never thought of, or you made him laugh by writing something funny. I think your teacher always waited in anticipation for your assignments because they were always amusing to read. You had a way to entertain through your assignments. I also think you had a talent for writing, and so I think when your teacher was bored out of their mind after reading 10 or 20 assignments that were all basically the same, then he would arrive at your assignment, and then he would like wake up from his boredom. They would sit on the edge of their seat because now they would read something that was totally different from the 20 assignments prior to yours. And I also think it was exciting for them that your assignments were so unpredictable. They never knew what to expect, while the other students always did the same thing. Like if they did something and they got an A, they would just keep on doing that and play it safe afterwards. And so but you, even if you got an A on an assignment, you wouldn't do the exact same thing the next time. You would mix it up, and you never stuck to like the same writing style. And so it was impossible to tell if you would write a funny, almost comedian-like assignment, or if you would write a deep, thoughtful, philosophical piece, or if you would write a beautiful, poetic assignment. And so there was a lot of diversity, and it was interesting for your teacher, but it also made you very mysterious. I think your teacher didn't completely figure you out. I think they felt like you were kindred spirits, but like I said before, every time they would look at you in class, they could tell that you had the same thoughts as them. But they also knew that you had this other side of you that they didn't, that they didn't completely comprehend. That like you were really complex, and so even when they thought they had figured you out, they got surprised. And so I also think they might have thought that you were hiding yourself by these hiding yourself behind these different writing styles, that they never truly experienced the genuine version of you in your writing. And I think your teacher really wanted to experience the untouched, raw version. But I also, like, I'm in no doubt that your teacher was really intrigued by you, and for good reason. I think you sound truly inspiring and fascinating. So, but let's draw some. I have some archetype cards here, and so let's draw some of those just to see how your teacher saw you when they were teaching you, how they would describe you as a student. And so the artist and the victim. I think this is very fitting, actually. So I think your teacher saw you as an artist, obviously, like a creative mind, someone who was destined to create something, someone who thought creatively. And I think that was very present in your assignments, that you had a creative way of seeing things. Also, it says here, like, inspiring others to see life symbolically. And I think that was a talent of yours. You were good at showing your teacher a new perspective on things. You were good at taking ordinary, everyday things and turn them into something funny or interesting. Like you were good at turning like a boring assignment, about maybe like fossils or something like very dry, and turn it into like a poetic masterpiece. You had a way to turn the boring into something interesting, which is why you stood out from the crowd, because I don't think any of your fellow students did this. Everyone just did the assignment as it was assigned. They just did what they should, what they were supposed to do, what was required of them. They never tried to entertain the teacher, which I actually think you did. I think you had your teacher in your mind while writing the assignment. You thought about them reading it while writing it, which not many students do. Many students only think of themselves. In a way, you were actually quite selfless. You thought like a true artist. You thought about your audience. You thought about making a great experience for your audience, entertaining your audience. You didn't think of yourself, how you would be perceived, how you would be graded, which I think served you quite well, because I think you got good grades. But I also think grades didn't matter to you. I think it was more important for you to create art. And so with the victim here, I think it is fitting as well. I think your teacher was worried about you. They worried that you were not attending school, that you might have had issues at home. I also think maybe you were bullied in school, and maybe your teacher had a suspicion that maybe you didn't attend school because you didn't like being there, and that it actually made you physically ill being in school because the other students gave you such a hard time. I think you might have had psychosomatic illnesses, but maybe but maybe this could also be family issues, like maybe your parents had addictions or mental health issues, and so you might have been left alone a lot. Maybe your parents didn't help you with your homework, and they didn't drop you off at school. Maybe you were sick a lot because of your parents. Maybe you had younger siblings that you actually had days where you missed school because you had to take care of your younger siblings because your parents were not capable of taking care of them themselves. Like maybe you came to school late all the time because you had to drop off your siblings at kindergarten because your parents were not in any position to do it themselves. So I think your teacher felt sorry for you. I think they could tell that you had a rough life, and I think it bothered them a lot because they felt like it was so unfair that someone so gifted as you should have to deal with so much BS in your everyday life. But let's see what message your old teacher has for you, what your teacher would tell you if you met with them today, and I'll use the tarot for that. So I'll just draw some cards here. So 3 of Pentacles and Queen of Wands. So with the 3 of Pentacles here, it is quite obvious when you look at the picture here. I think your teacher wants you to become an artist. Like with the painting here, they want you to do something creatively. They want you to create art. They want you to become famous. And like with the money here thrown at the art, like they want you to make money out of your art. Like they know you are destined for greatness. They know you are supposed to do something great. Like also like the pyramids are here. Like they want you to create a wonder, like something that will end up in the history books. Something that will like eternal art, like something that that will outlive you, like something everlasting. They want you to create a masterpiece, which they know you can. They want you to paint or write or make movies or whatever your art is. They want you to make something. They want you to they want to see you on the cover of something. They're waiting with anticipation to see one of your creations come to life. One of your creations seeing the spotlight. And with the Queen of Wands here, I think your teacher wants you to share your mind, like you can see here with the light, the light rays shining out of the third eye or the mind of this woman here. Like your teacher really wants you to share your thoughts with others, give others a peek into your world. They want you to show they want you to show people a new perspective on things. They want you to share your light with others. Also, since you might be withdrawn, you might be very private, and you were probably private back when you were in school as well. And I think your teacher is telling you to be more like the Queen of Wands. Dare more, take chances, be more impulsive. You are the only one blocking yourself from your success. you are getting in your own way because you are so hesitant. You are so afraid of putting yourself out there. You might be a Virgo, like you are so afraid of the spotlight. You are an introvert, and you don't like people noticing you in your everyday life. You like to blend in with the furniture. You don't do anything that draws too much attention to yourself. Like you might even be scared of like changing your hair color just because it might draw attention to you. You might get some comments because of it, but I think you're scared of that. But I think you are completely opposite when you do your art or when you write. When you take, because then I think you take chances. Then you do things that draw people's attention. You're not afraid of standing out when you do your art, and so I think your teacher wants you to show your art to the world. They want you to leave that shy and withdrawn part of you behind and show the world what you got. Enlighten the world, because I also think the teacher wants you to know that there is something unique about you. You can do something that no one else can, something that is completely unique, and that is exactly the type of people we need in the world. It is the people who think differently, who think outside the box, and who are not mainstream, because it is these people who will invent something outstanding, discover something incredible, write something magnificent, and like paint something breathtaking. And your teacher wants you to start creating. Prepare yourself to live in the public world without your skin to protect you, completely naked to the bone. You need to peel all the protecting layers off and show the world your everlasting soul. This is beautiful. I think your teacher is an incredible person. Also, like I think also with the pyramids here and the Sphinx here, like it's so obvious that your teacher thinks so highly of you, that they want you to write a book that will be read for centuries to come. You need to paint a painting that will end up in the museums for centuries to come. And like your teacher, in your teacher's opinion, you are destined for greatness. You are supposed to make something that will inspire a lot of people, not just in your lifetime, but in many lifetimes to come. And that's truly great. But that's what I see for you, group number 1. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Group number 2. So you chose the smoky marble, and I will start with the channeled message, and then I will proceed to the cards. So I think you were very smart. You always did what was required of you in school. You handed in your assignments on time, and you rarely made any mistakes. I think you were very dutiful. You did everything by the book, and even though you were a straight A student and your teacher had nothing to complain about really, I think your teacher still wanted you to take more chances. I think you were very afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you had a lot of pressure from your family to always get straight A's. So you stayed inside the box because that was what was required of you, and that was what would ensure you that you would get a good grade. Maybe you come from an Asian family or just a very strict family who really wanted you to become a doctor or a lawyer. So your grades were very important. I don't think you think inside the box at all, and I think your teacher knew this as well. They knew that you were hiding this side of you from them, and they wanted it to come out, but they knew you were blocked by the pressure from home, or maybe the pressure from yourself. I think your teacher wanted you to experiment because your teacher knew that you were smart and that you would excel. Like now, I think your teacher wants you to experiment now because like your teacher knows that you are smart and that you would excel at any academic pursuit. But I think your teacher wants you to make up for lost time. Like this is weird, but I think this is what your teacher wants you to know, that your left side of your this is weird, but that your left side of your brain is extremely developed, but your right side might be a bit underdeveloped because you have been so restricted. And so I think your teacher wants you to know that maybe it is time to take a break from the heavy learning and discover creativity and inspiration. Live a little. Like I think your teacher was a really cool type. They might have been a bit rock and roll in a way. Like they were not your average dry, boring teacher with like the shirt buttoned all the way up to the chin. I think that the person was or still is a bit of a free spirit, someone who thinks outside the box. And the advice I think they have for you is that you should take it easy with the studies. Go out and explore. I know this is really bad advice, but like I think this is a joke, but like I think they are jokingly encouraging you to like experiment with drugs, but it's not like that. I think they just want you to let loose, don't be a square. It just go out, live a little, party, fall in love. They want you to get inspired by life, get your nose out of the books and get into a more free-spirited state where you can start thinking more creatively, more outside the box. And maybe you have actually accomplished this. Maybe you have broadened your horizons a lot since you were in school, because, well, after all, you are watching a tarot reading right now, and so you can't be completely inside the box. But I think your teacher was a bit angry with your parents. I don't think your teacher liked your parents. I think they were mad that they put this extreme pressure on you and kind of pushed the life force out of you by restricting you so much. And if this wasn't your parents, maybe this was yourself. Maybe you had such high standards and expectations of yourself for yourself that you never truly allowed yourself to do anything out of the ordinary because you were afraid of making mistakes. But if that's the case, I still think your old teacher thought your parents were to blame, even if they weren't. But let's draw some archetype cards to see what your teacher thought of you when they were teaching you how they would describe you as a student. So the Messiah, mentor, queen, and angel. So I think with Messiah here, it says serving humanity with humility, and that makes sense. Also, if you come from an Asian family, I think you were very modest and humble as a student. I think you were taught to be that way. You were taught to always talk yourself down and never be cocky or arrogant. I don't think you ever bragged or thought you or made it known to others that you thought you were better than others, like with your words. And I think you were really bad at receiving any praise as well. If your teacher praised you, you would just blush or look down or say that there was nothing special about what you did or said. You might have had a tendency to downplay your own skills and talents and talk yourself down. You might also have been extremely afraid before every exam, and you probably told your fellow students that you were going to fail your exams, and then you would get straight A's, and I think your fellow students were a bit annoyed by that. But I don't think your teacher necessarily heard this, but I think your teacher felt this, like it was weird why you were so afraid in every exam. When you knew all the right answers, you shouldn't have had anything to worry about. And I think that might have been why they assumed that it was because of pressure from home. But as I said before, it wasn't necessarily pressure from home. It could just have been your own pressure that you put on yourself. So maybe you felt like you weren't good enough if you didn't get an A, but also with this shadow attributes here, like it says exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a course can succeed. And I think your teacher might have experienced this side of you, for example, in group assignments where you might have been a bit difficult to work with because you weren't in control of the outcome. And it was so important for you to get an A that you were not going to allow anyone to stand in the way of you getting an A. So you might not have been easy to work with because you didn't want to compromise. You wanted the others to do things the correct way. If someone suggested something outside the box, you would shoot that idea down instantly. And I think you actually ended up doing all group assignments yourself. Also, like if you were in groups, like you would be the one with all the work, but also like I think you just asked your teacher to do the group assignments alone, but if you were in group assignments, I think you felt like you were doing all the work, but but I think it wasn't like because they were lazy, which I think you might have assumed that they were, but it was actually your own doing, because people just gave up trying to please you and just let you do the work yourself. And you might have felt like it was unfair, but actually I think it was because they couldn't live up to your high standards, and so you kind of, well, like I said, you kind of created the situation yourself. Like, if you were not willing to compromise and only wanted others to do things the way you wanted them to be done, then they could just as well leave all the work for you, so that you could do it exactly the way you wanted to do it. And so I think people just withdrew because they didn't want to get in your way. And so I think your teacher noticed how you weren't willing to compromise, that you were so afraid of getting a low grade that you would rather insult the group members and do the group assignment yourself, because, well, I think you actually did insult some people, because when you work in group assignments and shoot all other suggestions down besides your own, then you are kind of saying that all the others in the group were beneath you, that you were better than them, and that you knew what was best, and the others didn't, which I think made people think you were a bit arrogant, but on the other hand, you were humble and modest as well, which is that funny duality, which I think many people have, where on the one hand you talk yourself down, you tell everyone that you are extremely afraid of an upcoming exam because you are sure that you are going to fail. On the other hand, you can't work together with others because you are sure that others are not going to do as good a job as you. And so I think maybe the modesty is a bit of a facade, really. Maybe it's a defense mechanism as well, like a way to keep your integrity if you actually should end up failing. Like, maybe you study extremely hard for a test, but then you downplay it to your classmates and tell them that you haven't studied at all, that you are going to fail. And then if you get an A, then they will be impressed by you and think you are a genius because you could get an A without even studying. But if you tell people that you have studied really, really hard, and then you get a low grade and even maybe fail, then people will think you are stupid, or that you are just not qualified for like. And so I think you might be humble, but because when you downplay yourself, people can only be pleasantly surprised. But if you talk yourself up, talk highly of you, people are going to notice all your flaws. And I think you think this way because that is how you think yourself. When you meet someone who praises themselves too much, then you get this urge to search for flaws. Like if someone tells you how smart they are, you start noticing this stupid things they say. And so I think you are afraid that if you brag about yourself, the same kind of judgment will dawn upon you. And I can somewhat relate to this way of thinking. In my country, we have this thing called the law of Jante, and it basically says that you shouldn't think you are smarter or better than anyone else. And I think it is why, like, you get the urge to put others down when they brag about themselves, because bragging is something you look down upon, something you would never do yourself. But I also and I can relate to this because like in my country, bragging is also looked very down upon. You won't meet anyone like I'm from Denmark, and it's very rare to find people who openly brags about themselves, and so I think that's also why you start like judging people on the when they brag, because you want them to get down from their pedestal, down from their high horse, and so you start looking for flaws to like so that you can make them believe that they are not as good as they think they are, and I think you do this to yourself as well. But so I always thought there was one flaw in the law of Yante, and that is that it doesn't say anything about putting others down to make yourself look good. And I'm not saying you do this, but maybe beware that you might have a tendency to criticize others, and that it is actually just as arrogant as bragging openly about your own superiority, like when you show it by criticizing, by lowering others so that you look higher in comparison. That is just as bad, and so be aware of that. Like when you do group assignments, I think your old teacher wants you to put your pride aside and work with others. Don't become so fixated on being right and doing everything the correct way. Like I think this also has to do with this like inside the box thinking that I think your teacher think you have. It's not certain that you have it, but I think maybe if you had to like analyze a book or a movie or a piece of art in school, you were very fixated on one correct interpretation and everything else was false. I don't think you are this way now, but I think you might have been that way in school, that you only saw one correct answer. And this is what kills art. Art is alive. We keep art alive with our interpretations. Like if someone makes a false claim that their interpretation is the right interpretation and all the other interpretations are wrong, then the artwork has been murdered. Then you have murdered the artwork. Then you are a murderer, just say. And so I think your teacher wants you to learn how to put your ego aside. Let art breathe. Be open to other people's interpretations. Like recently, I read a movie review on IMDb on the movie. What's it called? I'm thinking of ending things. And in the review, like in the title of the review, the author or the commentator wrote explanation post, and then wrote that like people, if people were confused about the movie, then they could read the review to get a better understanding of the movie. And that is what is so problematic, because what this person gave in their review was an interpretation, how they saw the movie. And when people give an interpretation of something and they call it an explanation, people get the idea that they misinterpreted the movie, that they were wrong for having a different understanding of the movie. But really, they didn't misinterpret it at all. They interpreted it in the correct way that they were supposed to interpret it, because interpretations are subjective. Art is subjective, and it's what keeps art alive is that there are so many people watching art, and everyone watches it a different way. And if everyone saw it the same way, it wouldn't be alive. It wouldn't create new things. It wouldn't give new it wouldn't give anything new, and it wouldn't, like, it's so I think that, like, there's no one correct interpretation of any piece of art, because if there were, then the art would be dead. This is like also something I work with, like in my practice with the tarot, and like just the other day, someone commented on one of my videos and criticized me for not following my intuition. I know you might be watching this reading right now, so hi. But well, I let my pride get in the way, and I actually deleted the comment because I thought it was condescending. But I know there was some truth to it. The comment was referring to how I had corrected myself in one of my videos when I made a mistake. I was using one of those alternative tarot decks, and in this deck they used peppermills instead of wands, and I confused it for pentacles, and then I corrected myself as if I had made a mistake, which I know is a rookie mistake, because there is no such thing as mistakes when reading tarot. I should have stuck to my first thought and interpreted the card as pentacles instead of wands, because that was what was shown to me. That was what the card wanted to be at that moment. And I think this is something your own teacher wants you to know as well, that you should follow your intuition more. Don't let your knowledge block your intuition. Don't correct yourself when your intuition is trying to tell you something, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. And if because I think your teacher really wants you to know that there are no such thing as mistakes. Everything is supposed to happen the way it happens. So if you make a mistake, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. And also, like, if the person who made that comment is watching, I think you need to stop putting people down in order to make yourself feel superior. Like, that's a side note. But also with the Queen here, like, I think your teacher thinks you could be a great leader. I don't think your teacher wants to praise you for being a team player, because that's obviously something you aren't very good at. But I think your teacher wants you to know that you have leadership skills, and that could also, like, I think it's also because you're not afraid of making your opinion known. Like, you criticized, like for that one person with the comment, like you criticized me, but and I was very I was sad about it. It really it bummed me out, but I also it also taught me something, and so I think you are good at saying what needs to be said. Also for the others of you, of course. I think you have this gift of like you can tell, you can criticize people. That's all. You might also be a Virgo. You can criticize people, and you're not afraid that people will get mad at you, that people will perceive you as mean or anything like that, because you know that in the end they will be grateful, and so I think you believe at least that you know what's best for people, and I think you do in most cases. But of course, this is not a way to become very popular, because, well, people don't like criticism. But of course, we need people who criticize, because that's how we develop the world. So criticism is not a bad thing. But also with the Queen here, it's funny because like it says in the shadow attributes, becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, and that is also quite fitting. But I also like it also says like controlling and demanding. So I think your old teacher thought of you as a bit controlling. I think this is talking about group assignments, that you were a bit controlling in group assignments, that you took the lead and that you wanted things to be done your way. And I think your teacher might have seen you as the born leader, like I said before. And so, but so also with the mentor here, the shadow attribute of this card says inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master. And I think when you worked in groups, you were afraid of others getting credit for your work. You didn't want others to look good on your expense. Like you didn't want them to outshine you, and you didn't want to give away the role as the master easily. You wanted to be the smart one in the group, the one in charge of others, because the others weren't as good as you, and so you might not have seen the other group members as assets. You didn't see they might have had fields where they had more knowledge and skill than you, and where they would have been able to contribute more to the assignment than you, but you didn't allow them to do that because you wanted to do everything yourself, and you didn't really believe that anyone could do things better than you. But I think your teacher saw you as a mentor as well when you were not doing group assignments. Like, I think you were the type who would help your classmates with their homework. I think you were good at giving advice, and especially pointing out flaws that people could correct. And you did that in your spare time. You had no problem spending time looking through a classmate's assignment and give feedback so that they could get a better grade. In the way that way you were selfless with your time, and you genuinely wanted your classmates to succeed. But as soon as they could spoil something for you. Like in group assignments, as soon as others could affect your grade, then you weren't as kind to your classmates. Like, I think you felt like that if you affected other people's grades, then the grade would only get better. But if others affected your grade, it could only get worse. And I don't think you accepted any help from anyone else. You would gladly help others, but you didn't want them to return the favor. And that is also what I think the angel card here is about. Because like I think you helped others, like it says here, helping those in need with no expectation of return. And I think you helped others with no expectation of help in return. But in this case, it might have been interpreted as quite arrogant, and it was really, and as it was basically saying that, like, it is basically saying that no one is as good as you. You are on the top, and so you can only help others get up to your level. And if others were to help you, they would bring you down to their level. And so I think your old teacher might have seen you as a bit arrogant, really, but I think they acknowledged that you were smart, smarter than most. But let's see what the message for you from your old teacher is. Like, I'll use the tarot for that. What your old teacher wants to tell you today, like what would they like you to know. And so the High Priestess reversed, Knight of Swords, Death, Two of Cups, Eight of Wands, the Emperor reversed. So I think with the High Priestess here, like reversed, I think your teacher wants to tell you that you are blocking your intuition, that you are not using your intuition. And with the Knight of Swords, I think it is referring to what I was saying before, with how you might need to stop rushing to get an education, that it might be okay to take a break and smell the flowers. And with the Death card here, for some of you, I think your teacher might actually have crossed over to the other side. They might not be with us, like physically in this realm. And for some of you, I think, well, it's only a few of you, but most of you, I think you are. I think this is saying that you are in a place in your life where something is about to end. And I think your teacher wants to tell you that it is fine, because with every ending, something new will begin. And so I think your teacher wants you to be prepared to be more adaptable. As we talked about before, you might have a tendency to be a control freak. You like to be in control over the situation always. You want to be in control over your own life. But I think your teacher is really telling you to let go of that control. And that's also with the Emperor here reversed. Let go of your control issues. Go with the flow. Let the things end that needs to end. Don't cry over spilled milk, and see it as an opportunity to stay, to start something new and exciting. Also, don't let past experiences block new experiences from coming in. Don't let your experience hinder you. Like if you failed in school, don't let that encourage you, discourage you from trying again. If you had a bad relationship before, don't let that discourage you from trying again. And with the Two of Cups here, I think this is also about how your old teacher wants you to forget about your studies for a moment and pursue love. Also, you might be in a field where the knowledge can't be found in books. I don't know what that could be, but like if you're studying psychology, maybe go out and meet people and ask them about their whole life stories. If you are studying to become a kindergarten teacher, go out and play with children. Of course, not random children. I don't think that's like legal, and it could be interpreted in the wrong way. Don't just go out in the street and just find some random children and play hide and seek with them. But like, you know, maybe play with like your nieces and nephews if you are like, if you have any, like, but, and also like maybe get a volunteer job where like where you work with kids, or like if you're studying to become a social worker, maybe volunteer at a job where you at a volunteer job where you where you work with people. Like go out and get experience, like real experience that you can't get from books. Like also, like maybe if you are studying psychology or theology or whatever, become a volunteer at a hotline for people like in grief, or who or a suicide hotline or something like that, where you could get really get a lot of experience. And with the Two of Cups, you might also feel like you are at a crossroads right now, that you are struggling with a decision. And I think the decision is between what you're supposed to do and what you want to do. Maybe you feel like you are supposed to take an education, or you are supposed to keep your current job, but on the other hand, you have this thing you've always dreamt about doing, something you've always wanted to do, but you are afraid of pursuing it because it is high risk and no reward, or no sure reward. But I think your old teacher really want you to follow your heart. They want you to do what feels right for you. This could also be that your parents wanted you to become a doctor or a lawyer, but you really want to become something completely different. And I think your old teacher wants you to do exactly what you want to do, that you should not cave into the expectations of others. And with the Eight of Wands here reversed, I think they want you to slow down. Don't be in such a rush. Chill out. Things will turn out just fine for you. You don't have to be in a rush to accomplish things. Like you might feel like you need to have done all these things before you turn a certain age, and you might feel like you are getting behind in life, that people your age have accomplished much more than you have. But I think your old teacher wants you to acknowledge how silly that is, that of course there is no such thing as getting behind in life. It is your life. You can do with you can do with it as you please. You shouldn't compare yourself to others. You shouldn't do what is expected of you by others. You should just do what feels right for you. And with the Emperor reversed, I think maybe some of you have a demanding father, and I think your old teacher really wants you to separate from him. If he is trying to dictate your life, then you need to distance yourself from him. But also, I think this is telling you that you need to, well, as I said before, you need to stop being such a control freak and stop trying to control things you can't control. Like, I think your teacher feels like you never really learned that there are factors in life that are out of your control, and that is something you need to accept. You need to accept the fact that if you do group assignments, people will write things you don't agree with. That is something you need to accept. You need to accept that you can't control everything that will be written in a group assignment. It is out of your control, and the only way to cope with this is to accept that the assignment will not turn out exactly as you pictured it and as you wanted it to turn out. Accept that there is a possibility that you will be graded lower because of the mistakes of others, but that is just a part of life. You can't make everyone do whatever you want them to. This is also in something that you have to deal with in your everyday life when you're not in school, like in your job, and just in life in general. You have to accept that other people's mistakes might affect you, and it's annoying as hell. But I think there is something liberating in just letting go of control and accepting that there are just things we can't control in life. And so that's what I see for you, group number 2. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Group number 3, you chose this Azurite, and I will start with a channeled message, and then I will proceed to the cards. So I think for some of you, your old teacher had like long hair. It could have been both a male and a female. I think it is likely that it was a male. I think they might have had like long hair, like they were maybe like balding a little bit, but like they kept their long hair. Maybe this was like in the 80s actually. I get like a bit of like a hippie vibe from this person, like someone who like wore like glasses, like very thick glasses, like also with like a thick frame, and like big glasses. So like I feel like an 80s vibe here, like also like sweaters and things like so I get like this hippie 80s like vibe, maybe like also 70s, but like it's most likely that it's like, it could also have been someone in the 90s, but who was just like a bit old-fashioned, and I think or like had a retro style. And I think this person was also really hippie as well, like in their way of like in just their way of being, like how they were as a person, like and I also think their message for you is quite hippie. Like I think they want you to be happy and smile. They want you to do what makes you happy. For some reason, I really think your teacher wants to see you smile, and also for some of you, I think they want you to see you smile again, like as if you stopped smiling at some point, and they might have seen you smile and be happy, and then they saw how you changed and became more and more sad over time. and I don't know. Like, I don't think they knew why you stopped smiling. Like, I think they felt like you lost your spirit. Like, I think this teacher so like maybe they saw you going from being like quite outgoing to suddenly withdrawing and hiding inside your shell, and that you suddenly became very hard to connect with. And I also think for some of you, this might have been like an emo phase in your life. Maybe you changed and became goth suddenly and started dressing in black and started hating everything and stopped smiling. And but so this could also have been like just a phase, like when you started becoming a teenager. Maybe you got a bit of an attitude, but that's only a very few of you. Most of you, I just think something might have happened in your life that made you withdraw from like that made you become more introverted and made you become sad and depressed. And so I think that they just saw how you stopped smiling, and I think they of course they assumed that you were going through something very difficult, maybe something at home, and I think you did that. I think there was something you were going through, but let's draw. I have these archetype cards, and I want to draw some cards on how your teachers' perception of you were when they were teaching you. And so the martyr, hero, or heroine, and addict. So I think with the martyr here, like I think your teacher noticed how you sacrificed yourself for others, that you put others first. I think they witnessed how you did this in your friendships with your classmates, and I think this could have been because of bullying. I think you wanted others to like you really bad, and so you sacrificed yourself in order for others to like you. You did things for others to make them like you, and you didn't defend yourself in like you didn't defend yourself if others wronged you, and I think your teacher noticed that, like, and I think also like it broke this teacher's heart, that sometimes they witnessed that people made fun of you or bullied you, but then you would throw yourself under the bus and actually join them in bullying you. And I think this is something many people do, who especially have been bullied from a very young age. And I think also it's because because people who get bullied, they get told by like teachers or therapists or some people in their life who give them who gave them this bad advice. They gave them this advice that if that you shouldn't react to bullies, because bullies only bully to get a reaction. And you've probably heard this, like I've heard this, so I think many people have heard this. Many people have got this advice in school, and so you were taught not to react, to hide the emotions you felt when people said hurtful things to you, and to not defend yourself, not stick up for yourself. And I think this is the worst advice you can give someone who is getting bullied, because first of all, it doesn't work. Bullies will keep bullying. Like, even if you ignore them, sometimes they will bully you even more if you ignore them. And second of all, it has such devastating consequences for the person getting bullied, because they learn to ignore their own emotions, and they learn that there is no point in defending themselves. And it's the worst thing you can teach a child. It's like it's child abuse, really. It's so horrible. I hate it. But like, so I think your teacher saw that, like, how you didn't defend yourself against your bullies, and that you didn't react, even that you ignored them. That and like I said before, I think the most devastating thing was when you actually went in on the joke. That if someone said something hurtful to you, you would just cave in and say, well, that's true. I am ugly. Or like, if someone like I had my uncle got bullied in school, and he lost so much of his own self-esteem or his own self-worth, that his friends who bullied him, they came to him and they said to him, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we ruined your playhouse, like out in the what it like and he just said, well, yeah, that might be funny to do that. And then he actually helped them ruin his playhouse, helped them smash it into pieces. And I think that is something that I had an experience myself in my childhood, where something a bit similar happened, and I think many people have this, where they completely lose their self-worth, to the point where to make people like them, they do things like that. They allow others to walk all over them, and even help them bully themselves, like help the bullies bully themselves. And I think there was an incident like that your teacher witnessed, where you went in on the joke, where you helped them bully you by actually giving them, like, if they said like, you're ugly, you would say, like, but well, what, like if they said, like, you're ugly, then you might have said, like, well, but I'm poor too, like, so like you just gave them more to bully you about, like, you just and like, I don't know, like, but and like, if this is not something, like, if you weren't bullied in school, I think your teacher just saw you as someone who put others first, someone who was who gave up, gave a lot, who sacrificed your, like, as someone that they saw you as someone who sacrificed yourself for others, a selfless person. You might have sacrificed yourself for your family. Like if you had like if your parents had issues, you helped them, but of course this is also about self-pity, and so I think maybe they saw you as someone who gave up at some point. I think your teacher acknowledged that you were going through something very rough, but they might have felt like you could have overcome it, that you gave up. Maybe you dropped out of school, or maybe your parents moved you to another school because of the bullying, but your teacher felt like you should have stayed because, and you should have, maybe you should have talked to him or her, like to them first, and maybe they could have worked something out, and I think they felt like you just escaped from the situation, like you just ran away. You gave up too quickly. Something happened where you stopped and with the hero and heroine here, like the shadow attributes say escapism, and so I think this meant a literal escapism for some of you, that your teacher felt like you escaped the situation, that you took the easy way out, that you just ran away as soon as it became too hard. But of course, with the escapism, it also says heroine, and the addict here, I think, well, it couldn't be more obvious that there is a big message here about drugs and alcohol, that I think you might actually have had a problem with drugs or alcohol, or your parents might have had problems with drugs or alcohol. But I think for some of you, this was you. And I think your teacher was very devastated by this, that you would go down that path. But I also think for some of you, you might have been a martyr or hero for your parents who had problems with addiction. Like you might have taken care of them or your younger siblings because your parents couldn't. But I think for most of you, this is you, and that you have a problem or have had problems with addictions, and maybe harder drugs like heroin. But let's draw some cards on what message your old teacher has for you today. What your teacher would like to tell you if they met with you today. What they want you to know, and so the Fool, the Seven of Cups reversed, Temperance reversed, Knight of Pentacles reversed, Ace of Wands reversed, Death reversed, the Hermit also reversed. So a lot of reversals here. I think I think with the Fool here, I think your teacher wants you to do what makes you happy. They want you to find your passion in life, the thing that excites you, that gives you butterflies in your stomach, and then pursue that. Follow your intuition. Do what feels right for you. Don't listen to the advice of others. Don't let other people get in your head. Don't listen to the opinions of others. Just do what feels right for you and take a leap of faith. Like before, because you are so self-sacrificing, you might not have found what it is that you actually like, what you want, what would make you happy. Maybe there aren't many things that actually make you happy, because you don't know what makes you happy, because you have focused so much on making other people happy that you have distanced yourself so much from your true self that you don't really know what you want and what would and I think your teacher wants you to find that thing that makes you tick, the thing that makes you happy and passionate, I think like if you haven't found your path in life yet, I think your teacher wants you to stop searching so hard to find it, but allow it to reveal itself to you, because finding your life path is much like finding love. You will only find love when you stop searching for it, and that's the same thing with your life path. It will reveal itself to you when you least expect it. With the Seven of Cups here, and the Temperance reversed here, I think it is quite obvious, and this is also again talking about the abuse of drugs or alcohol, and if you are doing drugs, then I think your teacher wants you to stop doing that. And but if this has nothing to do with drugs or alcohol, I think they want you to stop escaping from things as soon as they become unpleasant. Also with the Knight of Pentacles here reversed, I think your teacher wants you to start being more patient with things. Don't just quit things right away. Wait it out. Don't take any drastic decisions. And also with the Ace of Wands reversed here as well, try to stick with some of the things you start. Also with the Fool, like the Fool is good at starting new things, not the greatest at sticking to them. And so I think your teacher wants you to find that one thing you are most passionate about and then stick with it. Don't quit it as soon as it gets tough. But also with the Seven of Cups reversed, it is saying that I also think your own teacher wants to tell you that you might have stopped dreaming a long time ago, and I think your teacher wants you to start dreaming again, dreaming of a better future. Maybe you stopped dreaming a long time ago because you realized that there was no point in dreaming, because you would just get disappointed over and over again. But I think your teacher wants to tell you that it is time to dream again. Don't cave into the darkness where you look at the future with dread and despair, where you think tomorrow will be just as bad as today, and so what's the point? This might be why you can't plan ahead, why you only think of the future short term because you fear the future a bit. You don't feel like there is anything to look forward to, so you tend to avoid thinking of the future as much as possible because it just bums you out. And I think your teacher wants you to try to, instead of planning ahead, dream ahead, dream of the future, even if they seem unrealistic, even if your dreams seem unrealistic, like just dream, because dreaming is a step in the right direction to start planning your future, start looking at the future long term, not only taking it day by day and see how it goes. Maybe some of you have had like this thought of like just taking it day by day, and like and you haven't, maybe you haven't thought your life out in the long term because some of you didn't expect you to live this long. I don't think any of you have actually pictured yourself getting old. Maybe it is because some of you are drug addicts, and so you have come to terms with the fact that that you could potentially die tomorrow, or maybe you are a recovering addict, but now you suddenly have to deal with the fact that there might actually be a future for you after all, and a part of you so now you need to plan it, and this is a really foreign concept for you, and there might be a part of you that feels like, and might even have come to terms with the fact that you are just not destined to have a happy life. But I think your own teacher wanted to be more optimistic about the future, see the possibilities, and with the temperance reversed, well, of course it's I think it's a clear message. I think your teacher just really wants you to stop to start dealing with your addictions, but also find balance and harmony in your life. You might not be in harmony right now, but might not be in balance, and also with a hermit, I think you might be isolated right now. You might isolate yourself from others. You might withdraw from others, and I think your teacher really wants you to know that it's safe to start being with others again, and that it would be good for you to be with other people. But also, like with the hermit here, it's reversed. I think they might be saying that there's something you are not seeing, that there is something you are blind towards. I think they want you to look inwards. Maybe they want you to gain some clarity on your situation. They want you to see that it is not all bad. Make you see that how you can actually create your own happiness. You can't change the past, but you can change the future. But also, I think your old teacher wants you to stop isolating yourself, as I said before. But also with the death card here reversed, I think you are in need of a change. You need to stop some of the patterns you've been repeating. You need to end them. Also, if this is a family pattern, then maybe it is even more important that you end this cycle. Like if your parents were addicts and they passed it on to you, then I think you need to stop this cycle for your children and your future children's sake. End this cycle of suffering, end this cycle of self-pity. Maybe your parents also wallowed in their own grief and self-pity. Maybe they neglected you as a child because of their own self-pity. Like they intoxicated themselves out of self-pity. They might have felt that the world was against them, that they were unlucky, that everyone had it much easier than them. And maybe they inherited this from their parents as well. And so I think you need to end this cycle of self-pity. I know it sounds harsh, but you need to see that you are not stuck in the position you are in now. You can change your life for the better. Also, for some of you, I think your old teacher is, well, I think your old teacher wants you to know as well that, like, if you keep on this path, like going down this path of like drug abuse, that eventually it could kill you. And so I think your teacher is really serious about this. They really want you to stop doing drugs, stop before it kills you. Like this is a bit of an intervention, really. Like, I think your teacher is really worried about you, that and they want the best for you. So that's what I have for you, group number 3. I hope you I hope this message was helpful to you, and it was. And if it was helpful, then please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye.